Yup, I'm back. As always, the first thing, welcome to chat. Remember to get your and abide by. Is the chat live? Did we mess? Did we mess somewhere? Did we mess somewhere? I feel like we need to restart because it looks like. Let me check. You have to check. You have to check first. Don't know. Hey, where are you? Where are you? Where are you? Where are you? Yes, here you are. Here you are. Is the chat live? Yup, the chat is live. The chat is live. The sound. Everything is right. And now I'm on your screen. Purely the right kind of connection. Now, here, today, there have been a lot of transfer news from the start of from yesterday. Yesterday I was not live, but we had a lot of transfers. Then today, there have been a lot of transfers. And one thing that I love about transfer days is, you know, you have always been the right time that us Chelsea fans for a long period of time have been enjoying has been transfers, because during the season it was just really getting a lot of defeats and a lot of draws and no title. But during transfer is where we used to show our muscle. And right now we have a good team, so probably we are not going to be involved as much in this transfer period as compared to other teams. But the other teams are still giving us what we have always been giving people, which means just hijacking people. Deals fail. We have hijacked several people, several players. The first big recent hijacking was Modric from Arsenal. Then we did a double on Liverpool with Caicedo and Lavia. Then what's the other one? We have been king of hijacking, and right now we are seeing an imminent hijacking by Man United towards Arsenal, which some people, it's sad to some people. I've heard even some news where Gyokeres' father was crying that this deal is taking too long. But for us fans, we are not getting involved. We know how the world works, and it's enjoyable to see a team losing a player after they have made jerseys, after they have made videos of welcome Gyokeres to, you know, North London. Welcome to Arsenal. Welcome to the Gunners. You are going. If I was to, I know I don't like Man United so much, but if I wanted a player of Gyokeres' ability, shooting, just goals to go between Arsenal and Man United, I will want him to go to Man United, because if he goes to Arsenal, that then makes them a that makes them a world beater. That makes them a title contender. So if you're asking me whether I'll prefer Gyokeres to go to Arsenal as compared to Man United, no. I'll want him to go to Man United. I'll want him to go to Man United because Man United doesn't have a midfield, and he will not perform as good as he would have performed at Arsenal. But this is how things work. But that's not the only thing we are talking about today. There's a lot of news. There's a lot of things that have happened, especially because yesterday I didn't make a stream or I didn't go live. So we have a couple of things to talk about, including the friendlies that happened yesterday. Spurs first reading and Man United faced Leeds. Yeah, uh, I will talk about them later. But right now, we are going to go. We are going to go. Does that make sense? Oh, English is not my first language. Either way, fuck! Somebody is playing a huge music. I don't know if it's just too loud. It's just too loud. It's just too loud. Let me see if the stream is catching that music. Man, this is the worst thing about making live at this time because there's noise everywhere. There's noise everywhere. Now, it can't just, I'll have to say. You, we can deal with it. Now, that's the thing. Gyokores will probably not be going to Arsenal. And that will change the entire aspect of, like, because Arsenal has to get a striker either way. Arsenal has to get a striker either way. Man United has to get a striker either way. So if Gyokores will not be going to either Arsenal or Man United, it means Man United will have to get another striker. And probably the rumors, the people that they have shown interest are Jackson, and Man United has only shown interest to Jackson. But Arsenal has shown interest to Jackson and Watkins. So if Man United hijacks Gyökeres and they sign Gyökeres, then Arsenal will have to sign either Jackson and Watkins. But I think uh, to please their fans, because they have been signing a lot of people from Chelsea, and I don't think they will they will still go again to sign another Chelsea player. Then I'm sorry to any Arsenal fans, but I think there's a highly chance if this deal fails, and the other striker that was in the market has already been scoped by Liverpool. So your only option will be Watkins. I'm afraid that, but Watkins is a good player. It's not that it's bad. You have seen, it's just that he has been playing in a mid-table team. So everybody thought, like, sometimes good players usually play in mid-table teams. We have seen with Pedro. And there have been a lot of strikers who have been playing for mid-table team, but when they went to bigger teams, or when they went and got like a bunch of good players surrounding them, either good wingers, either good midfielders, either good attacking midfielder, either good second strikers, they started performing so well, which is the same thing that you expect with Watkins. But I'm afraid that you'll either accept that next season, if you're not going to spend on Gyökeres, you'll be having most likely Watkins. Then Man United will either send Gyökeres, and if they fail, then there's a high chance they'll be having Nicholas Jackson, because there are no any other strikers in the market right now who will come just in Premier League and be fast strikers. And then another news: Liverpool today or yesterday, depending on where you are, they signed the Kitike. They were so they were pushing to sign Isak from Newcastle, but I think Newcastle now doesn't need funding. It has oil money. The only thing that is preventing them from signing other players is probably PSR, but they don't need more money from people. So they'll most likely remain with Isaac. And again, Eddie Howe was, I saw yesterday, I was reading some news yesterday, and he was complaining that they haven't signed a lot of people. They have been losing people. They just signed Elanga, but they have lost Longstaff to Leeds. They have lost a bunch of people, which means their squad right now is thin. They have a thin squad, and they are being expected, like everybody is expecting them to still remain among the contenders for top 4 next season, which means they will most likely hold on to Isaac. They're not going to lose Isaac like easily. If they're not going to lose Isaac easily, Ekitike has gone to Liverpool, so Liverpool will not be pursuing Isaac. So that means that probably even if Man United wants, or even if Arsenal wants Isaac, it will be just as hard getting him as it has been hard getting Gyokeres. So those were the news. Then another news I know everybody knows right now, like Rashford has gone to Barcelona on loan, which, if you ask me, was it the right decision? I don't think he had options. Like even Aston Villa didn't want him. Man United do not want him. Uh, a lot of mid-table teams cannot afford his salary. Like teams just beyond the top 5 leagues cannot afford his salaries. He had to take the only option that came to him, and that was Barcelona. Now, will he be playing in Barcelona? Like, will he be having regular minutes? I'm not sure, because in Barcelona, we know right wing Yamal will always be there. Every game is young. He doesn't get injured easily. He always plays 90 minutes. There's So he's not going to replace him. Now, he might go on the left wing, but the other guy, what's his name? Barcelona left wing. This Leeds guy. Why am I forgetting him? What happened? What has happened to my memory? What has happened to my memory? What is happening to my memory? Barcelona squad. I have to Google. I don't want to overburden my memory. Just remembering a single person. Rafinha. Again, Rafinha doesn't get injured easily, and he always, sometimes they usually sub him, but he plays most of the minutes, like up to 70 minutes. Now, again, he's not going to replace Rafinha as the first choice unless they sell Rafinha. Nobody's going to buy Rafinha. In fact, Rafinha doesn't want to go from Camp Nou. So, Rashford will most likely be a second. If he's going to play on the wings, it's going to be a second choice. Now, the only place or the only person he can sub is probably Lewandowski if he plays as a striker. But I'm not sure. I don't know. I know Rashford is a good scorer, but how many games has he played as a striker to warrant, like, to make that positive belief that he will be able to play better or better than Lewandowski? Like, how many games will he play to prove that he's better than Lewandowski? How many goal scoring opportunity will he convert compared to Lewandowski? I know Lewandowski is at the farthest end of his career. In fact, sometimes you watch him and you see him running on fumes. But He's still a scorer. Like he will still score a world. He will still score. Though he doesn't miss tap ins. He doesn't mess up on any opportunity. On any opportunity that has to be scored, he will always score. But then Barcelona still has Ferran Torres there. I don't think Paul Victor is will offer a lot of competition, but Ferran Torres is there and he can also play on the wings, on both wings, and he can always play as a number nine, like just on the forward line. So I think Rashford will have to work really hard. Like he'll have to work better than he worked at Aston Villa, because even at Aston Villa he wasn't getting regular minutes. Like he was a sub. Always, he was always a sub. He was always a sub. Even that PSG game, he was a sub. So there's something that is doing wrong. There's something that is doing wrong, which means I'm not sure. I'm not sure. And he's going for a loan. So just Barcelona took him to just be the second option in case anybody gets an injury to play. But I don't think he'll play a lot of minutes. Now, the other thing is Man City. You know, last season I was hate watching Man City. I was hate watching Man City for so long. And not just last season, the season prior, like 2 seasons ago, and then last season, and they kept, they kept, they kept winning. Like some games you just want them to lose, but they kept winning. Now, I was happy that they did not win because they had won this league for so long. Like for the last like 9 years, they have won like 7 times. That's not good for the league. But and I've been happy for their, as much as it was short-lived, their downfall, their short-lived downfall. And because I've been watching them, I've seen how they sign people, how they misuse players, how they don't take care of, like they're just out there signing everybody. And a lot of people, even pundits, they're not scrutinizing Man City. If any other team would have signed people the way Man City signs and then bench them, like they signed Gonzalez for, I don't think, 40, was it 40 or 50? Then they signed Kusanov for like 40. And those guys have played a combined, I think, 4 games since they were signed. If any other team had signed people at that cost and put them on bench for the entire period, for the entire 6 months that they are in the club, we will not hear the end of it. Like every pundit will be on their case. But Man City just, it's like they didn't sign anybody. It's like they were signing under 19s and under 20s. And now they want to sign Trafford. Trafford was the Burnley keeper. I haven't seen. Let me see how much. Trafford was good. He was even in my. Was even in my fantasy at some point. I think he's a good keeper, but I don't know if he's going to be their position one. I see a scenario where they just keep signing people. Like that's what they always do. They'll just keep signing a lot of people. More people. Burnley had a good so fast. I'm going to so fast go to see how many clean sheets they made last season. I know it's at the highest end. It was like among the top 3 or top 4. He made, yeah, he had 29 clean sheets. 29 clean sheets in 45 games that he played last year. 29 clean sheets in 45 games that he played last year in the league. But he's still good. I'm not sure they're going to depend on him as much. They just want to sign him because they're signing everybody. And again, people will not scrutinize the deal because they'll say that, oh, he's coming from the championship, so he's not going to. But will they really? I was. Eh. But Trafford is good. Trafford is good. Yeah, he was in my. He was in my. He was in my. He was in my. In my. In my fantasy. But that was long time ago. That was 2023, 24. But I still remember him. But now I'm just noticing that in 23, 24 he had two clean sheets. But he was always in my fantasy game. But last season he had 29 clean sheets out of 45, which means he's a good keeper. As much as it was in championship, he's still a good keeper. And if any other team gets him, you'll expect that he will be their first choice keeper. But now Man City will still not get the scrutiny if they signed him. If they sign him, a lot of people will not talk about the deal. But then again, Ederson, I think, is moving out. He has been showing signs that he doesn't want to play, and you expect it from him because he has won everything. He has won league after league after league after league, and then he won the Champions League. And he's a Brazilian, so he likes to party. I'm not sure about that, but I just know a lot of Brazilians, when they win everything, then it's all about enjoying their time. That's what life is all about. And Ederson, I think, is going to AS Roma, if I'm not wrong. But I'll have to confirm first. Ah, Ederson transfer. Who wants him? I think he's wanted by AS Roma. AS Roma. AS. Atlanta. No, no, I'm on the wrong. I'm on the wrong Ederson. I'm on the wrong Ederson. I need the keeper, not that other Ederson. No, not Roma. Galatasaray. He's wanted by Galatasaray. He has even agreed personal terms. So they're just negotiating. But I think Man City doesn't even, the way they're selling people. Last year, was it last year or last year but one? How they sold Laporte, and to some extent, I even thought at some point Laporte was like playing like the best defender in Premier League. He was even playing better than Van Dijk at some point. And then all of a sudden he's being sold to Saudi Arabia, and cheaply, very cheaply. I think that's after. Was it after or before the World Cup? And now even the Saudi Arabian team doesn't want him. That's what, that's, those are the things that sometimes as a fan you don't understand, because you always see the players during the match, but sometimes the coaches or the people, the technical bench, usually see how people train, how people just how they behave, how what they eat, their weight, how they change, their running, their running ability, like every other thing. So it's easier for them to know, like, the quality of this guy has dropped before the fans. And that's why sometimes when a coach, especially after signing, and I saw it earlier on when we signed Santos, not signed when he came from loan. And everybody, every fan, you go to social media, you go to Twitter, you go to everywhere, FB, every fan wanted him to be given a game. Every fan wanted him to be played. And Maresco was trying to explain to him that no, he doesn't know our style, he's not ready for this thing. And I think the first cameo for like 10, was it 10 minutes, 5 minutes, and then some extra time, 6 extra time, people stopped talking because they could see what the coach was saying. And sometimes it's just good sometimes to trust the people who usually stay with the players all the time, or they know what the players do, they know how they train, they know, uh, it's just the right thing. Sometimes now, we have feelings and it's emotions, and you want a player because you saw him score last week, you want him to be there, you want him to always get some minutes. And when they say like, and it's the same thing with Nkunku. Last year we were all about, why don't you give Nkunku minutes? Why? Because we know the ability that Nkunku has. Like, he can change the game, he can take the game by the balls and just keep scoring and just, dribbling, getting a number on some players, like influencing the game. But that's what we were used to, like probably 4 years ago. And we thought, because we know him from the way he played back then, he's still the same guy. And when Jackson got injured and Nkunku now had to play, that's when people realized that no, he's not the same player. He's not the same player. That's why I think Man City gets just, but they don't get the same scrutiny. I want them to get the same scrutiny because it just makes them, it just allows them, like, because they are not, nobody is just having their lens on them, that they can just do anything. They can just sign 10 people and then sell 5 people. I'm so sure they usually make a lot of losses, but they just find a way to get ahead of PSR. And that's how they manage to win all these leagues and all these trophies. Now, that's all about transfer. I don't know there's any other big news on transfer. Is there any other big news on transfer? Let me check in case there's any other for the top teams. For the top teams, that's it. That's what I've been dealing. I know there's a lot of movements uh, for the teams at the bottom side of the table, and especially the team that are coming to Premier League. I think they're making a lot of. They learned from Forest. Like, if you're going to Premier League, you get Premier League type players. You just can't depend on the, on the players that probably won the championship. To save you. Now, the thing that is happening, I've seen Leeds sign a lot of people. They sign long staff from Newcastle, and they've signed, but a bunch of them were just under 20. They are not like really proven, like really PL proven. But now, if Burnley loses Trafford, they'll have to get another keeper. That's what I haven't seen a lot from Sunderland. I even don't know. I'll have to look at them. I'll have to look at them and see which players do they have, and if they can survive. If they can survive the Premier League next season, or the three will still be dropped. That has been the case since 20 was it 2023. Like, the teams that come up are the same teams that go down. It shouldn't be that way. It shouldn't be that way. Like, we need to find a way where teams, at least two teams that come up, are able to still remain in Premier League. Now, we'll go to yesterday's friendly. I'm just going to talk about Tottenham first. Tottenham versus Reading, and then Man United versus Leeds. And to talk about it, I'll go to I saw Tottenham versus Reading, the game. I didn't see Man United versus the Leeds, but still I'm just going to talk about them. Now, the thing with Spurs is that what I noticed about Spurs, they are still not playing the way Frank plays, but it's because probably they are facing Reading. They are still, I think, even of course, that has to happen, and then I think, even a ball possession, but I think this was for first half. If first, yeah, second half, it was like probably most of the times it was. Now, when you see the stats and then when you see how they play, it's a little bit different. But then you can't go against stats. But if you watch the game, you will see that it wasn't like a huge difference in terms of possession, in terms of passes, in terms of how they moved. First half, it was, you will see like Spurs was better. But then again, Reading is a League One team, and sometimes it's just not the team where you rate your quality. It's not the team where you go ahead and you say, now we have a clean sheet, now we can depend on our defenders, or because we have scored we can depend on our strikers. It's not that team. You'll have to get. Now, if you're doing it with a championship team, you can say that, of course, a championship team, the difference between, as much as it's not that huge. It's huge, but then it's not that huge. Like, a lot of the players who play in championship could still go ahead and play in Premier League, and you will not see a huge difference. But then with League One, there's some kind of difference. Now, the thing with Spurs is that you could not see, like, if they have a certain way they play. It was just normal. It was just normal passing, and then the formation was still the same way, 4-4-2, 4-4-2, or something like that. What's the formation here? Lineup. Yeah, it was something like that. It was like a 4-4-2, but then you have an attacking midfielder and Solanke there, and then in second half the same. You have two wingers. Now in second half, Son was like it was like a three something. Left wing, right wing, and then a striker, and then the three midfielders were like really crisscrossing the midfield. But it was the same thing. It wasn't like you will see a huge difference with the way they play. Yeah, like you will say like Frank introduced a new way of thinking or a new formation or a different kind of way of playing than what was initially. But then the person that stood out was this Luka Vuskovic. He scored and then he gave an assist. And I had to go and look at him. He was playing last year, he was playing in Belgium. Belgium at which team is it? I think I've even done some. He was playing at no, I need to Warsaw. Is it Warsaw? Warsaw or something. Waterloo. Yeah, Waterloo. He was playing at Waterloo. He can go back. Westerloo, not Waterloo, Westerloo. Westerloo. He was playing at Westerloo. He had 7 goals. He had 7 goals last year. So he's a goal scoring midfielder. And this time he gave an assist and scored. And then the other guy that also played so well, but he had only like 40 minutes was Kudus. And you will see he was running to the wing, just passing people like butter. And we are used to him with West Ham. Now the problem with him is that as much as yesterday he gave an assist, but as much as he always dribbles and he runs and he does a lot of good things, the final just the final balls, he has a problem with the final balls, either scoring or sometimes he plays like Madueke, where if he scores, that's the end of his game. You'll never hear of, like, he scores and then he just shuts out. And that's a problem for a top team. If you are in a mid table team or in a lower table team or relegation team, that can be okay. For a top team, people will always see you and people will start blaming you and people will start, and especially for the amount that he was signed. I know a lot of people are expecting a lot of things. Now, next season, I think a scenario where. Now, the thing with Spurs, even last season, they are good defenders. Romero, Van der Ven, Udogi, and Poro. Now, if you had, I'm not sure that will just come into the team, Luka Vuskovic, but I'm sure he'll offer because Van der Ven also is injury prone. You expect, or he was even moved out. Why didn't I see him yesterday? I saw him. I think he was there. Yeah, he played yesterday. But last year he didn't play a lot of games. He was injury prone. Now, that's the thing with Spurs, and this is one thing I've come to notice about a lot of teams that are winning. I've been winning the Premier League or have remained top teams, is that you always have to get the right midfield. You always have to get the right midfield. Even with Chelsea, the times where we were really contenders, we had Kante, Jorginho there. Then you move back to the times of Deco, Balak. Like we have always had Makelele or something. We have always had the seasons where we were so good. Lampard, we always had the best midfield, even if we didn't have like the right combination of forwards or we had problems at the back. The thing that usually wins for a period of time, not just a game, the teams that usually wins the league always has to have a good midfield. Even with Man City, when they lost Rodri, or Rodri was not playing as you saw, you could see that in certain games they were losing. They were losing a lot of games without Rodri. And it's the same. Now, with Arsenal, at the time where they got Declan Rice, they had Party and injured. Party who is not injured. They had Odegaard. The team like was winning like a lot of games. The team was like bossing. You need to boss most of the games to win most of the games because the midfield is like a buffer. Even if you don't have the right kind of defend, it just means that the defenders will not face a lot of attacks, and it also means that the attackers will most probably get a lot of chances. They'll probably get, even if they're losing a lot of chances, they'll probably get a lot of chances. Now, to win, you have to get your midfield right. And that's what I think Man United has a problem with. I don't think they have a dependable defending midfielder. Casemiro is not a good midfield. Is past his time. He tries a lot, but you can see even in certain games, if you will see he's running on fumes. He's struggling at some point. Now you see how he makes a lot of fouls. It's because he just can't run as quick or as you know the same way that he used to run. That's what's the problem with Man United. That's what has been the problem with a lot of teams. Even this past last season, I don't think it had a good midfield. I will say the defense was so good. Poro, Romero, Van der Ven, Udogi. There are some that if you're comparing among the top teams, like if you have such set of defenders, you shouldn't be finishing in position 16. Nope. The problem was the midfield. And even as at now, they have not solved they have not solved it. They're still depending on Sir. Who's the other guy? Who's the other guy? Like they don't have a Bisuma. You see, you just can't go. You just can't start a season without a dependable midfield. And that's why I think next season we are going to Chelsea. That's it. As Chelsea, we are going to really be, we are going to contend for this Premier League because our midfield is like completely stacked. Our midfield is completely stacked. Only Liverpool probably has an equally, or is it better? Can you say Liverpool has a better midfield? And that's what even won Liverpool the Premier League last season because they had Gravenberch. Is that name correct? I may not be saying the name correctly, but who's the other guy? Who's the other guy? The three plus Jones plus the Argentinian. What's his name? Why am I forgetting? Why am I forgetting? But That's a solid mid. That's a solid mid. And they're adding widths there. That's a solid mid. They run 90 minutes plus. Like they'll run the same way they're running in the 80th minute is the same way they're running in the 10th or 20th minute. Like you can't compete with that midfield. There's no any way you can compete week after week after week with that midfield. It's always better you. You might win one game or two games, but eventually they'll always be winning a lot of games than the rest of the teams, which means they're likely again to win the Premier League. I've said it again and again and again and again. Like, I think Liverpool, I don't know where they're getting this money from. They've always been, of course, they've been buying like Marquee signings at certain period of time. What Mourinho used to say, it's legacy. Like you're buying a top player who you know you can depend on for a long period of time, the way they bought Mane, Salah, Van Dijk. But this season they're going overboard. Like they've already spent 200 on two players. That's overboard. That's unlike. Is it unlike them? It's just that's a perception, but it's not unlike them. They usually spend. But two players. I'm just wondering how they will fit in because you'll have Salah this side, Diaz, but then again, Diaz seem to be. They're always looking like they'll move Diaz. So if they move Diaz, somehow, I'm not saying it's not the end of the period, we still have a month until the season closes. So they might even add, if they add another right back, I'm not sure they're going to depend on Bradley. If they add another right back and then they add another left wing, a dependable left wing, of course Diaz is dependable. But sometimes I just feel like as much as the returns, it just plays a little different from the entire team. Like everybody usually just play. I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. But then the other game was uh Man United versus Leeds. Now I didn't see this game. It's all I'm just seeing it here. I don't know even. I've not even seen the highlights because why do you need the highlights for a game that ends 0-0? But it's the same formation. Like Amorim has decided to stick with the same formation 3-4-2-1, and now you have Obi Martin in front, and then Kuna and Kolya. And because they have signed Mbeumo, I think Mbeumo will be the one playing in where this Kolya is playing. Oh, I need to highlight. I need to have something to highlight. But you can see here. Yeah, there, where Kolya is playing. And then again, if we are talking Casemiro and Fernandes, that midfield is not good. I'll just be honest, that midfield is not good. And then Diallo is a tricky winger. Can he defend though? Can he defend? Can you depend on Diallo to defend? You have seen people who plays in right wing back. We saw Reece James play there. You have seen a lot of people playing right wing back. We know the kind of people that are needed. You saw Victor Moses, and all my references are most likely Chelsea because I've been. That's those are the people at the tip of my hand. I don't know about the other teams. Of course, I've seen a lot of teams playing with a left wing back or a right wing back, but they are not just at the tips of my hand. So when my reference is Chelsea, it's not just it's not because I've been seeing Chelsea alone. It's just because that's the information that usually comes first. But I know a couple of teams with the right wing backs, and I know this, the quality that is needed for a player both defensive and attacking, to play as a right wing back. And if you're telling me like Diallo, Ahmad should play for 38 games as a right wing back for any team that wants to be among the top teams, I'll tell you that you're mad. That can't happen. Probably they'll have to push Mazrui there. Then they'll have to get, 3. And here, they also have to push Luke Shaw where Leon is. And then they'll have, like, the lead, Yoro. Who's the other? Who's the other? Who's the other? Play of the match is Ugarte. Now, Ugarte, I don't know. I saw him last season and he was like a hit or miss. Sometimes he just plays good. Sometimes he doesn't play anything. So, I'm not sure. But all I'm saying is that for Man United, for you to compete at the top, you'll have to get another midfield that can break teams, that can run the entire 90 minutes. Just a younger Casemiro. A younger Casemiro will do, not this old Casemiro. And then those who came in, Maino is so good, but you can't depend on him. Heaven, Dalot, Dogu, Mount, Hojland. Again, still, you'll also need a striker for some case. And then Leeds. Now Leeds, these are the same people that went down. What's his name? Nonto, James. Who's the other one? Harrison. Tanaka was not there. Rodon was not there. Ampadu. They're the same guy who are relegated. They signed Longstaff, Meslier, the same guys. I just want to see if they have gained a certain kind of, experience. And now they'll know right now when they come to Premier League, they'll be able. And it's the same coach. So it's entirely like 90% Strujic was also there. Who's the other one? I'm not sure about Gray. I'm not sure about the other ones. But probably they have experience. They have experience so that if they come to Premier League, they'll know how to play. Because sometimes, let me see the statistics. You just can't come and you see now this is where the problem is. Like, why are you playing? Because if you play an equal possession with the team that is better than you. Now, I don't know. I didn't see the game. So, I might be wrong. But even with this game, you can see that Leeds had better chances, had more big chances than Man United. Man United is done. There are more passes, more tackles. Oh shit. This is even sad. Now, anyway, I've done 55 minutes. I think I've spoken everything that I wanted to speak. So if you're here, like, share, subscribe. Sometimes share our lives when we go in. But like, push us up. Like, hey, I do. What's wrong? But anyway, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching us every day. Hope you have an amazing day. Let's meet tomorrow for more of the same.